Fucking what? Stop. You shouldn't believe a conspiracy theory simply because it fits your narrative and you agree with it. Which is why I made the point that it's not questioning things every time you just believe everything Alex Jones tells you to fucking believe. Just because you deep throat the entire hook, line, and sinker every time you see a meme on Facebook that fits your confirmation bias does not make you a free thinker. So if I give credence to a conspiracy theory, it has nothing to do with whether I agree with it or disagree with it. And it has everything to do with whether or not it passes some very basic tests of plausibility that you all seem to miss every fucking time. And the first test is motive. So like when you thought like COVID and wearing masks was a big conspiracy, what was the fucking motive? The best thing those dumbasses could come up with for a motive was, it's to show that they can control people. Bitch, you have a social security number. You literally send the government money every year. You put on a seatbelt and obey traffic laws. You pay for insurance and registration. You have a driver's license. You tell them what your address is. They make you sign up for selective service. They make you get half naked and stand there while Chad gives you more affection than your wife has in years just so you can get on a fucking airplane. So yeah, I don't think the government would have a whole lot of motive to make you put a piece of cloth over your face to show that they can control you. So compared to a real conspiracy like Watergate, where the motive was clearly a man paranoid about losing his presidential election, so he had a few people break into his opponent's headquarters. Nice straightforward motive that makes sense. Which brings us to our second plausibility test that y'all always fail. The number of people involved. For a conspiracy to be successful, you need as few people in on it as possible. Every time you add a person into a conspiracy, it makes it that much harder to keep secret. And every new person added's motive needs to match the motive of the conspiracy. So like with the climate change hoax conspiracy, you've got hundreds of thousands of experts around the world, all looking at their own individual data with their own individual motives, all coming to the same conclusion, and have been doing so for decades, fails that fucking plausibility test too. I mean, Watergate, it was the most powerful man in the world and just a handful of people involved, and they still couldn't keep that shit under wraps. Then there's resources. Is there money, technology, access to make these conspiracies plausible? And then finally you get to what is the information source that is relaying this conspiracy theory to you? And is that source reliable? Do they have credibility and credentials? For example, an aide or a political figure associated with that particular subject matter. They would be plausibly credible. Part of that credibility is looking at their motive for being a whistleblower in the first place. So some dude on a YouTube podcast in his basement telling you he's got top secret information on a conspiracy is a red flag. Especially if there's history there of blabbering a biased narrative that this conspiracy theory conveniently fits. And if a conspiracy theory fails any one of those tests of plausibility, it's bullshit. And you continuing to believe it doesn't mean you're questioning anything. It means you'll believe any bullshit that makes you feel good. And buying into these make-believe alternative realities isn't free thinking, it's just your little safe space.